Ladies, gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new news roundup video. And today, this is one of those ones in where we are darting around the place because we got to start off with the DCU. We've got some new info on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and the release date. We're going into Booster Gold. There's been some very, very interesting stuff about that, even surrounding a potential casting and a production date. Then we're diving into some other things with The Boys. There's been a new trailer, or the first teaser trailer, should I say, for The Rings of Power. Season 2. It's going to be interesting to see what everyone says about that. Another trailer for House of the Dragon, among some MCU news with Daredevil Born Again, which I am very much so looking forward to here. So as always, these videos are time-stamped. Skip around if you want to, but I do recommend watching all of it to stay up to date with all of my takes on the news. Go ahead, leave a like on this video to help show your support for the channel. It really does help me out quite a bit. And of course, double check to see if you're subscribed. You might think you are because you keep getting recommended my videos, but check again, and maybe today is the day that you'll subscribe for more videos just like this. So today we need to start right off with Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. We received some information yesterday here from Deadline saying Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, the second pick from James Gunn and Peter Safran's DC Studios, gets a summer 2026 release. So put it in your calendar to wear your tights and capes on June 26th, 2026, as the Warner Brothers DC Studios feature take of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow will hit the theaters. So it seems like, you know, each summer is going to be like a super fam summer, because obviously we have David Corenswet's Superman, James Gunn's Superman movie, the first live-action movie, hitting our screens next summer, and then the summer after that, we will be getting Millie Alcock in her Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow movie, as well as the Batman Part 2 in the fall of that year, which, you know, I'm hoping doesn't get delayed. I mean, it shouldn't get delayed anymore, but this isn't about that. And also, one intriguing thing about this article is that they seem to kind of confirm Craig Gillespie here directing the movie, because that's been out there for a little while now. We have spoke about that on the channel before, but I don't think it was ever outright confirmed. It's not like James Gunn said, "Welcome, Craig Gillespie, to the DC Studios family," or anything like that. But Deadline seem to be following that information. And to remind everyone, as Gunn said at DC Studios presser early last year, that in their Supergirl, we see the difference between Superman, who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents from the time he was an infant, versus Supergirl, who was raised on a rock, a chip of Krypton, and watched everyone around her die and be killed in terrible ways this is the key part, just to give you a clue of where things are at, for the first 14 years of her life, and then came to Earth when she was a young girl. She's much more hardcore. She's not exactly the Supergirl we're used to seeing. So the reason why I wanted to emphasize that is because we talked quite a bit about, has Kara been on Earth for a while? What's the status quo in this DC universe that's already hitting the ground running, where Superman is already an established hero? It's not an origin story. And I've always said that I think Kara will be on Earth already. And just rereading that again, it kind of does seem to obviously imply that's the case, because when it says that she was raised on a rock, a chip off of Krypton, and watched everyone around her die and be killed in terrible ways for the first 14 years of her life, and then came to Earth when she was a young girl, well, I don't think she's going to be a, you know, young girl, so to speak, in the DCU. I mean, I think she will at the same time, but I don't think she's going to be 14 years old, because Millie Alcock isn't 14. Now, I am aware that actors most definitely do play ages that don't reflect their real age, and Millie Alcock is 24 years old in real life. Now, yes, in House of the Dragon, she did play Rhaenyra Targaryen, and she was younger than 23, 24, or however old she was at the time when filming that, but I don't think they're gonna, you know, de-age her in-universe to play the age of like 14. So again, and then came to Earth when she was a young girl, which will tell me that I wouldn't be surprised if Millie Alcock could be playing, like, let's just say 17, 18-year-old Kara who's been on Earth for a couple of years or so already, since she arrived on Earth when she was a young girl. So that's just something to bear in mind, because I feel like a lot of people have forgotten that description from James Gunn. Even I was a bit loose on the details. It's like, oh yeah, no, it kind of does make sense that she arrived on Earth as when she was a young girl after the first 14 years of her life being pretty traumatic. Well, Millie Alcock's probably playing a little bit older than 14 in the DCU. I'm not saying she's going to be 20 as Kara, and Kara is quite often young as Supergirl, but I don't think she's going to be 14, perhaps a few years older, which tells me that Millie Alcock cameoing in James Gunn's Superman and why she was cast a little bit earlier on before filming even started. Yes, the script was complete, and James Gunn says things like, well, we won't start casting until we have a script. So it did adhere to that, but there was no director or anything, and I think that was done so she could have a cameo in Superman. I'm not saying it's going to be a big role, but kind of the thing where perhaps Clark and Kara touch base or whatever, and I'm not saying she's even out there flying as Supergirl. Maybe she's still figuring herself out, and they're reserving that, to be honest, for the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow movie, and where, you know, you have Kara kind of looking at the status of things and seeing her cousin out there already Superman. Hey, I arrived on this earth, you know, with kind of a different idea of how things were going to go, but things are already different by the time I got here. And she goes on this kind of space-faring adventure, and it kind of helps her, you know, become the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, right? So let me know what you think of that. It makes sense, you know, with the whole 2 DCU shows and 2 DCU movies a year happening, with this being one of them in 2026. I don't know if that technically excludes DC Elseworlds movies, given that we are getting the Batman as well. So would we be getting another DCU movie in 2026 as well? I don't know if that would be the authority, or if they're just going to keep it to the Batman Part 2 and Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Now, filming might not start for this for quite a while, because if you kind of just take the production for Superman, that's not coming out until summer 2025, and it didn't start officially filming until February 29th of 2024, which means they have the rest of 2024 to stop filming in July, but then post-production after that to then ramp heavily into 2025 and obviously released by the summer of 2025. So, you know, with Supergirl, I know that they're probably trying to aim to ramp things up heavily this year from what we've heard, but it still might not be for a little while yet. But it's cool to know that we're going to be getting, you know, news in the same way we have with James Gunn's Superman about Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow before you know it. And, you know, I would love for you guys to let me know what you think about the movie, what your hopes are. Do you want the design of Superman's suit to reflect onto Kara's suit? I think when questions like this come up, I see the David Corenswet Kingdom Come, you know, logo there, and I feel like it kind of has to be put onto Kara's suit. Obviously, the design might be different. It might be quite a bit smaller. Obviously, the overall design of the suit will be quite different from Clark's. But the fact is, if that is the House of L symbol, and, you know, just that is the design, the Kingdom Come thick S design that is there, it just feels like that is also the same design that Kara would have. It wouldn't really make sense to change the S, if you will, if that is the symbol of your home. You wouldn't exactly change up your own symbol or your family symbol, would you? You'd still don it, but the design still might be a little bit different in terms of how it could be smaller. The color scheme maybe could be a little bit different. So let me know what you think of that, any wants desires, suit desires, and what you think of it releasing in summer of 2026. But now we need to turn our attention to Booster Gold. If you didn't know already, Booster Gold is a DCU project, a DCU Max series coming our way. I think that this could very well be our low-key introduction into the kind of backdoor Justice League International thing that they could be doing. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be a Justice League International project like a movie or a show, but I do think Booster Gold is a way that they can have some of these other heroes from Justice League International in there. We know that Sean Gunn has been cast as Maxwell Lord, so, you know, if you know a little bit about that, Justice League International, Booster Gold, it does feel like, you know, this is where things could be going. For all we know, Jaime Reyes, played by Shola Marduena, could be injected in there as well, even though it's usually Ted Kord. But here, what's got everyone's attention is that the upcoming Booster Gold series is reportedly set to begin filming on July 8th of 2024. And it's kind of like out of nowhere. Now, this is coming from productionlist.com. And this kind of website, along with Production Weekly, is kind of hit and miss, right? They do hear legitimate things within the industry, but think of it like the Batman 2 from Production Weekly. We heard that the tentative shooting date for that originally was November of 2023, but that never came to pass, so they updated it to March of 2024. That never came to be either. So it's that kind of thing, and where maybe there's been a bit more like momentum behind the scenes and where they've managed to get some, actual details on paper from some log lines that they can actually put onto their site. But as of the shooting date, I'm seeing some people being like, is this actually legit? Like, are they actually going to start shooting in July for the reasons of, in the grand scheme of things, that is in no time at all from where we're at right now. We're going to be in June before you know it. We haven't heard about the writer. We haven't heard about the director. We haven't heard about Booster Gold himself being cast. We haven't heard about any of the cast. So are they really going to announce all of that kind of last minute and then get into shooting? I don't think so. I mean, never say never, but it does feel like Gunn would have said something by now. I guess you could say like Peacemaker kind of got into production for season 2 pretty quickly, but that's still a show that we know is maintaining the cast from season 1. Gunn had written all the episodes and started as of the fall or the end of 2023 after the strikes, so things ramped up quite quickly for that, and they wanted that to come out after Superman and then put Waller after it. But Booster Gold is still something we know nothing about, so for them to just start shooting in just barely a couple of months is kind of crazy to imagine. So I'm not sure about it. I think that they've just heard some information and this is more of a tentative thing that could change. But at the same time, you do have a new rumor coming out alongside this with Daniel RPK saying that Booster Gold has already been cast. And, take that as you will. It is a rumor. Daniel RPK is a scooper who's got things right, some things wrong. There are some other people out there saying that Booster Gold has been cast for quite a while. And this is something where I wouldn't be surprised if that's true, in terms of just how Gunn has got it in his head that he wants certain actors to play certain characters in his DCU. For example, he knew that he wanted to approach Millie Alcock ever since House of the Dragon Season 1. Maybe Gunn has a similar thing here, maybe even somebody he's worked with before, in where he's pretty confident that, yeah, this person's going to be my Booster Gold, and it's something they've kept very under wraps. Not necessarily deliberately out of top secret stuff, it's just not necessarily ready to be announced. Now, I'm not saying that's Chris Pratt, because that's what a lot of people are thinking, but never say never, but I don't think so. I know a lot of people want Glenn Powell among other popular fan castings out there, but you know what? I tend to kind of lean towards, I think Booster Gold could have actually have already been cast. I think the production thing is tentative for now. Don't always take these websites. I'm not saying they're like IMDb level, but everything you read here is probably some info that they've got, but not absolutely firm. For example, they've got production contacts there. I'm sure they're all legitimate. But a lot of people are still thinking Pratt, because recently Chris Pratt said if he will return as Star-Lord first or into James Gunn's DCU. And he said, maybe both. How about both? Let's do both. I think it's 100% both. Now, I feel like people are reading into that. I'm sure he's just innocently answering like, I think I could genuinely return as Star-Lord first, but I think I'm 100% going to be in James Gunn's DCU at some point. He could know something about this, but no matter what, he would just answer in a way like this, where it's really not confirming or denying anything other than, I'm sure I'm going to be back as both. At some point, like, do you know what I mean? It's like a answer that isn't really giving you anything, and I don't think it really contributes to this. I understand why people are connecting it, but even though people see Chris Pratt as Booster Gold, and I totally get what they're saying there, I don't necessarily think it will be him. But let me know any and all thoughts on Booster Gold. Who do you want to play Booster Gold? I know there's tons of people out there that, fans want to see in that role. I know some people are like, why are we getting a Booster Gold series? But I do feel like this will give us a new look into the DCU outside of necessarily like Superman or other big characters like that, but get us into some of the other characters of the Justice League International. Again, I think the Booster Gold show will primarily be about Booster Gold coming back into present day if he's not already here already, but all while kind of being like a disguised Justice League International show without calling it Justice League International. Now, I'm not saying it won't be about Booster Gold. He's going to be the core focus, but I can imagine Maxwell Lord being in that series. Booster Gold maybe having to work alongside other heroes, maybe ground him a bit more from his usual attitude that he has when he first comes back into present day DCU. So that will humble him maybe a little bit, and we could get quite an entertaining series with a few superheroes out there that we might not have seen in the DCU. However, some could of course be maintained from Superman, such as Guy Gardner could appear in the series because he's in the Justice League International Comics. It'd be pretty sick if we got Batman, but I don't know about that. We've talked about that quite a few times. Will the DCU Bruce Wayne debut before his actual Batman the Brave and the Bold movie? So you see where I'm going with this. I think Booster Gold could be like a really fun show getting into the world of other heroes of the DCU with Maxwell Lord and everything like that. But will it start shooting in June? I watch this space, I guess, but X to doubt for now. Now we need to move on to The Boys, because guess what? I mean, maybe you already know, but it's been announced for renewal for season 5 before season 4 has even released. Now, this has got some fans thinking, and I do partially agree here. As much as I love this show, I don't want it to kind of drag out. Now, obviously, they didn't announce season 4 as the 4th and final season of the series, but they also haven't announced season 5 as the 5th and final season. And then when you kind of look into that a bit more, you know, I'm really excited for season 4. It kind of does oddly get you hyped up for season 4 even more, knowing that they're like already gunning for a season 5, like they're that happy with probably what they're seeing behind the scenes. But you then look at the story and what's going on with Billy Butcher, how he only has a little amount of time left given the amount of temp V that he went through. And then it's like, so wait, we now need to consider, is he going to survive season 4? Because, you know, a lot of people say, will fans really be as invested if Carl Urban doesn't come back to play Billy Butcher in season 5? Now, of course, there's lots of other great characters in the show, but this is Billy fucking Butcher. You know, like, it's almost impossible to imagine the show without him. So there is a world in where we can entertain that possibility they could do season 5 without him if he goes out kamikaze style in this season. But what if he doesn't? And then, you know, Homelander, is he not going to die in this season? I guess not, because again, now we need to rethink. Not only is Billy Butcher possibly off the cards, if you think of his temp V usage, the fact that he literally has cancer and he's only got so long to live, he's going to die unless they, I don't know, inject him with Compound V or something, and it kind of reverses it. I don't know. But then, you know, if we're getting a season 5, would they really do season 5 without Homelander? Clearly not. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if they did season 5 without Billy Butcher and Homelander, then the show would really not be as popular, I imagine. So I feel like they've just given away that either one of those two characters is staying on until season 5. And really, if you want to get to the bottom level of it, I think that this could mean, I'm not saying it is going to be the case, that possibly both of them will. I guess you could say that season 4 takes place in a very short space of time and Billy Butcher could still be dying in season 5, and that's when he goes full kamikaze to Homelander, and that could be the 5th and final season that they clarify and announce a little bit later on, whereas now they're just saying, hey, you're getting a season 5. But season 4 could take place over a little amount of time. Billy's still alive. They've made great steps to, I don't know, doing whatever with the Gen V virus and whatnot. But I don't know. I'm going around in circles at this point, but it is interesting to consider. Either way, I guess I'm happy about it, but I don't want it to ultimately be a negative for this show. It's best to go out strong and concise rather than, you know, drag out shows. But up next, we now need to talk about The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. And believe it or not, I don't know how many of you are new subscribers, but I did cover and review each episode in season 1. Now, I didn't get a chance to do an actual trailer breakdown for this teaser trailer. I am a big Lord of the Rings fan, but this is where the debate comes in. Because, you know, a lot of Lord of the Rings fans weren't fans of season 1. I definitely had my issues with it. It was kind of a thing where, yes, there were some lore changes, but at the same time, I think some fans were fairly harsh on certain things that I think were understandable, such as condensing the timeline, because the events that happen in the Rings of Power happen over an extremely long amount of time that you couldn't do it in a movie, let alone a TV show, unless you really did make the span of time a little bit shorter with regards to the gap between certain major events during those times as the Rings of Power were being forged, the fall of Numenor, everything like that. And yeah, there was pacing issues. There were some storylines that weren't as interesting as others, such as the Hobbit storyline. Anyway, I'm not saying it didn't have issues. It most certainly did. But having said that, this season 2 trailer, I think it looked pretty cool. But the thing is, that is what marketing is all about. Because you can look at this trailer. Let me put it this way, because I know there's plenty of people out there who's going to look at this and be like, you know, the season 2 trailer looks trash, right? But does it? I don't think it does. It's a similar feeling to The Acolyte to me. Lots of people have bad faith going into season 2 of Rings of Power, similar to new Star Wars shows on Disney Plus, because of how things have been conducted beforehand, in which I do say, when it comes to Disney Plus or even Prime Video here with The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, I do feel like they've made their bed with some fans going in with a lot of apprehension. But if you put an example out there or a hypothetical in where, let's just say this was the trailer for season 1, we never knew anything about it, I will say, level-headedly as I can here, the marketing and the way that this season 2 trailer looks does look pretty cool. For example, you've now got Sauron in Anatar form, which is very accurate to actually what happened in the source material. Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, Sauron the Deceiver is kind of what he did. He wormed his way in. We've still got Charlie Vickers going from Halbrand to Anatar here. So all of that looks pretty cool, the trailer in general. But the thing is about marketing, this is its job. It's meant to look cool. It doesn't, no matter what, speak to the quality of the writing, some of the similar issues we may have had during episodes in season 1, the pacing. Just because some lore here looks pretty cool and accurate doesn't mean that people aren't going to be, or fans aren't going to be alienated with other lore changes they could do this season. So I will say here, obviously very apprehensive. But having said that, the trailer for season 2 did surprise me with how much I did like it. But then again, I'm not kind of naive enough to think, wait. It's just kind of like video game trailers. You know, a CGI trailer or something like that doesn't mean the game's going to be good just because of how cool that CGI trailer looked or whatever, right? But you know what? I'm still going to tune in, see how it is, see if things have stepped up in season 2. I mean, clearly it still doesn't hold a candle to Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I have way more hope, despite if they've made efforts to make things better here, for what Warner Brothers announced with regards to the Hunt for Gollum movie, directed by Andy Serkis, and how he's also coming back as Gollum and acting again, and Peter Jackson is producing. So it is a lot more like faith there, because, you know, Rings of Power aren't remotely made by the same people as what's going on with Warner Brothers with that recent announcement. But either way, let me know what you thought of it. We've also got a new trailer for House of the Dragon Season 2. I did cover all of this in Season 1 as well. I would also like to know if you'd like my thoughts on this. It looks badass. What can I say? Season 1 was great, and this trailer is just really gearing us up for June 16th and how crazy things are going to get. I've seen some people wondering with the amount of trailers that dropped yesterday, are we going to get another Penguin trailer soon? I wouldn't hold your breath. I mean, I know the upfronts are today, so never say never if we could get some kind of expansion, like a scene or something like that. I don't expect like a full-blown official trailer, mainly because, you know, House of the Dragon comes out June, like, so that's just right around the corner. The Penguin might not come out until like September, October, November. We still have yet to get the release date, so that next trailer probably won't come out for a few months yet. I mean, I could be wrong, but, you know, if you compare the dates of how much they're promoting House of the Dragon, it's right around the corner. Why would they release another crazy Penguin trailer when it's months and months and months and months and months away? Now, lastly, ladies and gentlemen, we have to talk about Daredevil Born Again, because we had the Disney upfronts and we got quite a bit of information. So here from Deadline, they say Marvel teases Disney Plus release dates for Agatha All Along, which they seem to be embracing the amount of title changes it's had. I think that's to do with some in-universe weirdness there. Daredevil Born Again and Ironheart. So they revealed that Agatha All Along will be flying onto the streamer on September 18th. 2 episodes will be available at launch, with episodes becoming available weekly thereafter. I know there's a lot of discourse surrounding how interested people are in this series. I mean, I liked Agatha in WandaVision. I remember the WandaVision days back when, you know, it was really fun to break down the Disney Plus shows. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy Loki, but I feel like back then with WandaVision, let me know if you agree with me here, it felt like a bit of a different time. Like, maybe that's because of all the Mephisto theories, I don't know. But what I'm most interested in is we got a new logo for Daredevil Born Again. Looks awesome, by the way. And we can expect that in March of 2025. I cannot wait to review that. I mean, I'm hoping it's good. You know, I'm very happy that they creatively overhauled the process of that season. I'd rather them do that, get it right, take a bit longer if it means doing it the right way. But we also have learned from TV Line that Daredevil Born Again is now just 9 episodes long, which is very intriguing because we have had Jeff Snyder also say, this is from my newsletter months ago, where I said that the first half would be 9 episodes. So he's now wondering, along with many other people, so is there simply no more second half, or is there a second batch of 9 episodes, but they'll be released under a different title like Daredevil, The Man Without Fear? So maybe a second season, or maybe like a part 2, similar to like a Netflix release, and where they release part 1 and part 2. But the thing is, you would have thought that Disney would have announced that, saying, instead of saying like Daredevil Born Again is just 9 episodes long, they would have been like releasing part 1 of Daredevil Born Again with 9 episodes. So maybe they really have trimmed that much fat off of it. That's something that's very interesting to consider, and possibly could make sense with how it did go through that creative overhaul. We had Karen and Foggy reintroduced. So, you know, there's a lot of differences compared to the original Daredevil Born Again direction. As TV Line says here, the creative overhaul reportedly came after Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige and other execs reviewed the footage from the first few Born Again episodes and decided that the series, as envisioned by Matt Corman and Chris Ord, a legal procedural light on action and violence, and in which Cox's Matt Murdock didn't don his Daredevil duds until episode 4, simply didn't work. Yeah, no wonder. My God, okay, I'm not saying you have to be in the suit the whole time, but until episode 4? So yeah, my God. But the thing is, 9 episodes being cut off, that seems like a bit too much. Sure, if you're like, you know, overhauling things and really changing the direction, there might be like 3 to 5 episodes cut off, but 9, so that's maybe making me think that there is, maybe they might save some footage for something else, but maybe it really did go through that much of a creative overhaul that we might not be getting those additional 9 episodes. We also have some other comments here from TV Line saying, did this retooling result in versions of Matt and Wilson that are at least closer to the exact same characters Cox and D'Onofrio played for 3 seasons in Netflix's Marvel's Daredevil? Not exactly the same, but much closer, Cox shares in the video above, and potentially much improved, which you'd have to believe, because in the overhaul we now have Karen and Foggy, so the fact that we didn't have that before, already quite a bit different. So yeah, I would agree, much closer. D'Onofrio in turn said, it's hard to comment because I want to say so much about both the Netflix show and this show and the change that happened, but in the end, the last few months of work we did was written beautifully and directed beautifully. Personally, I think it's as intense as we've ever been, which is awesome. So let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think of that new logo as well, by the way. But also, do you think there is going to be a part 2 with some of those episodes salvaged? But then again, the more you think about that, surely not all 18 episodes from the original vision would have been salvaged. So would they really release a part 2 with fewer episodes than another 9? So I don't know about that. Daredevil Born Again could really just be 9 episodes. I will be covering updates on this on the channel, especially when we get a teaser. There was apparently a trailer of some form shown at the upfronts. I don't know if they're going to release that to the public. Maybe not. Knowing my luck, if they do, it's going to be out there as I've already filmed this segment of the video. But anyway, let me know anything and everything about Daredevil Born Again. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end this video here. Leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it. Would really appreciate it, especially if you're still watching right now. Why not help me out there? Consider subscribing for more updates on DC, Marvel, other franchises out there in news roundups just like this. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.